to Gateway International Church, where our motto is empowering communities. We are on a mission to spread the good news, helping people know Christ and embrace eternal life. Our robust Bible study programs are designed to equip you with the profound knowledge of God. Join our Word Addict Bible study and delve into the wisdom of scriptures that will transform your life. And speaking of addiction, become a prayer addict with our daily prayer sessions every day from 5 to 5:30 p.m. Let's make being addicted to God a daily habit. Don't miss our vibrant Sunday services. First service starts at 7 a.m. and second service starts at 9 a.m. Come and experience the joy of worship, fellowship, and spiritual growth. And for those seeking Christian maturity, our Christian maturity class for missionaries is open to all denominations. Join us and deepen your understanding of God's purpose for your life. Gateway International Church, where communities are empowered, lives are transformed, and God's love reigns supreme. Join us on this incredible journey. See you at the Gateway International Church.
Welcome to the Word Addict podcast. We are live one more time, and we're excited to have you in our midst. We are still on 12 days of life, death, and the beyond. And I'm excited to be having this study with you. If you have a friend, a brother, or sister, share with them, encourage them to be in this study. And we promise you nothing but perfect fun. So now let's look at Ecclesiastes Chapter 6. I'll take the whole chapter, then I'll break it down one by one. I have noticed that in this word, I'm using the Good News version of the Bible. A serious injustice is done. God will give someone wealth, honor, and property. Yes, everything he wants, but then will not let him enjoy it. Some stranger will enjoy it instead. It is useless and is all wrong. A person may have 100 children and live a long time, but no matter how long he lives, he does not get his share of happiness and does not receive a decent burial. Then I say that a baby born dead is better off. It does that baby no good to be born. It disappears into darkness where it is forgotten. It never sees the light of day or knows what life is like, but at least it has found rest. More so than the man who never enjoys life, though he may live 2,000 years. After all, both of them are going to the same place. So my dear friends, over here there is something you have to take note of. Solomon says that God makes some people rich, but they don't have what it takes to enjoy the riches they have gotten. Now, what does this tell us? In the olden times, anything that happens, they attribute it to God, whether good or bad. That is why even in our constitution today, we have acts of God, like disasters and co. They are called acts of God. But we know that it is not God who orchestrates all of these things. So, whether good or bad, they ascribe it to God. Now you can see over here that Solomon is trying to say that it is actually a blessing if you can be rich genuinely and enjoy these riches. Because you realize that a lot of people who toil hard to become rich, by the time they realize they are not able to enjoy their riches. Maybe you may tell yourself, okay, let's take for example, pizza. Maybe today you cannot afford a pizza, but you tell yourself, I'll work hard, I'll become rich, and eat a lot of pizza. You work hard, you become rich, only to be told by your doctors that you cannot eat certain things. So these are some of the things Solomon is outlining. The difficulties of life and the ability to interpret life. The seemingly uselessness of life. The fact that certain things, sometimes it's better to be dead, like in the case of a newborn baby, than to be alive. But that is one thing on Solomon's mind, because when you come into this life with all its toil and struggles. At the end of the day, you still die. So whether you die early or you die late, at the end of the day, you are still gone, and there is no use of you and of it. And it's something we have to think about critically as we move on. So let's look at the verses. More so than the man who never enjoys life, though he may live 2,000 years. After all, both of them are going to the same place, and that is the reality on the ground. Whether you live for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, we are going to the same place. That is one thing we have to understand. And aside the fact that you see that somebody will live long and suffer, somebody will live short and joy, somebody will live long and joy, somebody will live short, suffer. So Solomon is worried about this. He sees the uselessness of life. Why do we give birth? Why shouldn't we give birth? Verse 7. People do all their work just to get something to eat, but they never have enough. How are the wise better off than fools? What good does it do the poor to know how to face life? It is useless. It is like chasing the wind. It is better to be satisfied with what you have than be always wanting something else. And you see, we must learn to be satisfied. One wife cannot satisfy you. 2 wives cannot, 4 wives can, 10 wives cannot satisfy a man. It is the same way that people work hard for a lot of money. You will never be satisfied. Never lie to yourself. That is why Solomon is saying something very, very important here. Think about it very well. How much of sex can you have? How much of food can you eat? Just picture this. One day you tell yourself that, oh, today I have money, I'm going to eat my best food. Now, you eat, and you realize that the food must finish, because at the end of the day, either you become too full or the food finishes, and you realize that I even wish I didn't eat this food. So as for satisfaction, it is one thing we have to check. And this is what encourages people to be greedy, because it is like you want more, you are not tired of getting more. And Solomon is saying that one too. It's a useless thing, it's a waste of time, but they never have enough. How are the wise better off than fools? Because the wise and fools are struggling for the same thing. What is the essence of how to live a good life, how to face life? Yes, we'll teach you how to face life, but at the end of the day, it is better to be satisfied with what you have than to be always wanting something else. Now, somebody said, be satisfied with what you have. So if you are poor, remain there. That is not what Solomon is trying to say. But he's just trying to say that at each stage of your life, be content. Work hard, do what is necessary, but learn to be content with yourself. Now, verse 10. Everything that happens was already determined long ago. And we all know that you cannot argue with someone who is stronger than you. The longer you argue, the more useless it is. And you are no better off. You are no better off. So the verse 10 is telling us something very important here that we must learn when it comes to arguing out your case. You see, some people feel that I can tell anybody my mind, but you must know that there are people who are greater and stronger than you at all levels. So some arguments will not help you. You may win the case, but you may lose your job. So you have to consider that very carefully. And you have to apply a lot of wisdom. This is not to say do bad things because people are telling you to do bad things. But as much as possible, there are people who are stronger than you. There are people who are higher than you. And you have to know how to deal with all these people and all these things. And at the end of the day, everything that happens has already happened. Let me read the verse 10 from the King James Version, which says that which had been is named already, and it is known that it is a man, it is man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. You know, sometimes you go to a place and you feel that you want to introduce some powerful changes. and you realize that those changes are not working because you have not studied the system. You cannot change certain things and certain people. So sometimes you just have to leave it as it is. I've been in places where you are trying to move things forward very strongly. You are trying to move the work of God forward and get people to focus on what God is saying. But you realize that if you go to a place where all they're taking is entertainment and all those type of things, by the time you realize everything you have said and you are trying to do, you will look like a fool, and you will see that you are hitting against a mighty wall, and you will not go anywhere. So Solomon wants you to understand that certain things have been there for long, and you have to know how to rally yourself, how to run around them and with them. Now, let's hear the verse 12. How can anyone know what is best for us in this short, useless life of ours? A life that passes like a shadow. How can we know what will happen in the world after we die? Now, the verse 12 in the King James Version says, For who knoweth what is good for man in this life? All the days of his vain life, which he spendeth as a shadow. For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? Rich man envy poor man envy the rich. Therefore, what is the sense in envying your neighbor? Now, look at it from this perspective. You realize that we enter this life, you try to make meaning out of this life, you try to make this life better for yourself, make this life better for people, you try to have impact, you try to have heavy aspirations, you try to have visions and dreams that will pull us forward in all we are doing. But Solomon is saying something very interesting here. How can anyone know what is best for this our short life? And in the few years of pastoring, I've realized certain difficulties, especially when advising people. Sometimes there are some people you want to tell them, stop this, stop that, don't enter this relationship, enter this relationship. Sometimes to you, when you look at the complications, you just say, so who can know what is best for anybody at all? Above all, we have to do the will of God and do what is possibly best. Now, you can see that from the verse chapter 6, you can see the limitation of Solomon's wisdom. That is why Jesus said, a greater than Solomon is here. So what makes Jesus greater than Solomon? The fact that Jesus knows what will happen when we die. This is very significant and important, so that we will know why Jesus is saying a greater than Solomon is here. Somebody who is wiser and greater than Solomon is here. So, beloved of God, I want you to see that as far as the work of God, the things of God, as far as human life is concerned, every Christian has hope of a better tomorrow. That is, if we do what God is telling us and instructing us to do. And as Solomon is saying, it is not an issue of what is best to happen in the world after we die, because Jesus came to show us the way. God bless you. Stay protected. See you in our next episode. Bye.